Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Daily D. And today's topic, as we continue, creating your own economy. And today I'm going to talk about how you actually create it. But before we get there, let's get a recap, right? An economy is the science of household management. That sounds really funny or really technical, but remember it has the word household, which means your house. All right. So let's kind of cover the types of economies, right? There's a global, there's a national, there's a regional, a local, and then of course there's yours. So when I talk about your economy, we have those four components, and those four components of an economy for you is going to be health, wealth, values and faith, and legacy. So how do you create an economy, and why is that important? Well, let's get to the why it's important again. An important part of an economy for you and for me is really our ability to protect ourselves against the outside forces. And I say outside forces, I mean literally it's protecting your border, if you will. It's protecting your privacy, it's protecting your peace, it's protecting your financial stability, it's protecting your health. These are things that we have to protect. And an economy, if you will, of your own doesn't allow for the outside breaking of your border or your boundaries. And when we start thinking about how do we create it, we've got to think about the components and how we want those components to look in our economy. It may be different for many people. I understand that. But from a fundamental standpoint, we must have some at least basis being where we want to start. So let's talk about that, all right? So first, we're going to talk about first number one is wealth. So wealth defined is an abundance of valuable possessions or money. An abundance of valuable possessions or money. So what does that mean, right? Having a lot of something that is valuable to the world, to the marketplace, to you. And the way I think about this is when I want to think about how I start is, what type of wealth do I want to have? That's like the number one question I have to answer, because could be different for everyone. But I'll tell you this. See, many people shoot themselves or shoot short of what they are capable of producing. And that's a big deal, right? When I was young, I used to think that making $30,000 a year was a lot of money. And maybe that wasn't even young. That would just mean being naive. And I'm not trying to tell you that that's not a lot of money. I'm just trying to tell you that if you make $30,000 a year and you have one bad financial month where you get sick and you can't work, your water heater breaks and your refrigerator breaks, where your car breaks down, you get a flat tire, these things impact your life so much at that price point, right? That you really don't have wealth, you don't have money, it's not enough money. And so here's really a better question. So when I say what kind of wealth do you need to have in order to avoid any outside influences of your money, of your wealth? So here's a good indicator of what wealth should look like. If you had X amount of dollars, whatever that is, and you lost half of it, would you still be wealthy? That's real wealth. If you lost half and you were like, well, I'm still okay. I'm not gonna hurt. My kids won't hurt. Their kids won't hurt. You know, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. These are two of the top income earners in the world, or they have the biggest net worth, and they could lose $20 billion in a day with a B, and they're still richer than anybody else that's ever been alive. You know, that's the kind of wealth we need to be. So here's another question. Is there enough to support 3 generations deep at least? That's wealth. So what's wealth to you? How much money does that look like? And it doesn't have to be money, I guess, you leave for 3 generations, but what about possessions? What about land? What about assets? What about, the things you can leave behind? That's true wealth. You know, my mentor early on his name was Les Brown, and he said something to me that was so impactful, which was, what was your great-great-great-grandfather's name? And I said, I no clue. I'm assuming it's Bettis, right? But I don't know. And he said, do you know why you don't know them or him? And I said, I don't. He goes, because he didn't leave you anything behind. And I thought, that is so true. We don't leave a lot behind, and that in itself is the reason why we don't have wealth. All right, next, health. Now, health is very important because it's the physical, mental, and social well-being of a person. Physical, mental, and social well-being of a person. So what does good health look like to you in your economy? When I think about health, I think about energy, right? I think about stamina. I think about strength. I think about agility. I think about the things that really impact the quality of life that I live. And you should be thinking about those things too, because in an economy that you run and own, what kind of health do you want to have? Because vitality, life for a long time, is important if you want to build an economy. You see, we don't build economies in 1 day, 1 year, 10 years, 20 years. This is a 30, 50, 60-year period of time that's going to take you to create this. It's going to take you some time, and if you think about how much time it's going to take, you have to be ready for it. So could you, right here, right? What kind of health do you want to have? What kind of stamina? Could you fight any illness or disease in your own economy? Is there enough health that you can live a long-lasting life? And you got to define this. And I'll tell you though, you can't sometimes do these things alone. You gotta read, you gotta research, you gotta understand. But can you fight the illness? Can you fight the COVID? Can you fight the cancer? Do you feel like your body is capable of doing that? And if you don't feel that, then you need to work on this area of your economy. Next, faith and values. So faith in its definition is the complete trust in or confidence in someone or something. That's a huge deal because when you believe something blindly, if you will, that is called faith. Values are a process of principles that you live by, that you keep as your standard. For an example, integrity, transparency, love of all people. You see, these are principles, and you got to live by them. So how deep are you going to have connection to your faith? How much faith do you want to have in your life? How much connection to a higher being or a God do you want to have in your life? And how much do you not have right now that you want to have? In an economy, you have to have faith that things will work. You have to have a belief in something bigger than you. You have to have core values and principles. So let me tell you what I mean by core values and principles. Do you think that a core value or principle for somebody who wants to build wealth is eat what I want when I want? Or is it eat good foods? That's a principle. Do you believe that the person who has an economy that they create says blow money on whatever? You see, these are principles you can create. And last but not least, legacy. And the legacy is defined as something passed on to your kin or family. It could be money, it could be a possession, could be, anything. Could even be your reputation. That's a huge one, right? So what legacy are you striving to live or to leave? What do you want to pass on? What reputation do you want to carry on? Is it a reputation of contribution? Is it a reputation of giving? Or is it a taking? Because that could be negative, right? What kind of reputation, what kind of land or assets or money are you going to pass on from generation to generation? What's that ranch you're going to own, that beach house that gets passed on? The assets, the companies, the trusts. These are the things that build what we'll call the 4 components of your own economy. And if you understand this, by the way, what happens is that you start living a life that plans for your wealth, your health, your legacy, your values, and your faith. So I hope this helps you get to the starting point. Tomorrow we're going to talk about some of the examples of what a good economy looks like. And I hope you're getting something out of this. This is coming from my book, Creating Your Own Economy. I hope you're liking it because this is going to be some of the things that come through it. So I wish you nothing but health, wealth, success, but most importantly, freedom.